The message came on a quiet Tuesday morning. At first, the radio operators at Earth's Deep Space Listening Station thought it was just another burst of cosmic noise. But this signal was different. It pulsed with a clear pattern, repeating over and over in a way that could only be artificial. Tom Wilson had been working at the station for 15 years, and he had never seen anything like it. His coffee went cold as he stared at the readings on his screen, double and triple checking the data. The signal was coming from just beyond Neptune's orbit, and it was strong. "Hey, Mark, come take a look at this." Tom called to his supervisor, his voice barely hiding his excitement. Mark walked over, looking tired after his 12-hour shift. But as soon as he saw the screen, all signs of fatigue vanished from his face. "Is this real?" Mark asked, leaning in closer to the monitor. "Run it through the verification protocols. All of them." For the next 2 hours, they analyzed the signal from every possible angle. Other stations around the world began picking it up too. By afternoon, the small listening station had become the center of the biggest discovery in human history. The message itself was even more surprising than its existence. It wasn't just a simple beacon or a mathematical sequence. It was a complete data packet, carefully designed to be understood by a less advanced civilization. It contained images, technical diagrams, and a desperate plea for help. The aliens called themselves the Stellar Confederation, a group of unified species who had mastered faster-than-light travel. Their refugee fleet, carrying over 50,000 souls, had suffered a catastrophic failure in their drive systems. Now they were stranded, their highly advanced technology unable to solve what appeared to be a cascading system failure. "It's like having a quantum computer break down and only having access to other quantum computers to fix it," explained Dr. Alice Thompson, one of the first scientists to analyze the technical data. "Sometimes you need a simple screwdriver instead of a sophisticated diagnostic tool." Within days, the United Nations called an emergency session. Representatives from every space-capable nation gathered to discuss humanity's response. The aliens had specifically requested help from less advanced civilizations, believing that a simpler approach might succeed where their complex technology had failed. In the Great Hall of the UN, heated debates broke out. Some argued it could be a trap. Others saw it as humanity's chance to prove itself among the stars. But the deciding factor came from an unexpected source: the world's engineering community. "Look at these schematics." Jack Porter, a veteran spacecraft engineer, pointed to the holographic display. "Their systems are incredibly advanced, yes, but the basic principles are still the same. Energy needs to flow from point A to point B. Materials need to handle stress and strain. These are universal constants that we understand perfectly well." The engineering teams from different space agencies began collaborating, studying the detailed technical information the aliens had provided. They found that while the alien technology was far beyond Earth's capabilities, the fundamental problems were surprisingly familiar to anyone who had ever worked on complex machinery. As the days passed, a plan began to take shape. Earth would send its best problem solvers, not just scientists and engineers, but practical technicians, mechanics, and specialists who knew how to improvise solutions with limited resources. It would be humanity's first step into a larger universe, led not by diplomats or soldiers, but by the people who knew how to fix things. The message that Earth sent back was simple: "We understand your problem. We're coming to help. Please hold position and conserve power. Humanity accepts the challenge." In the following weeks, as the world prepared for its first rescue mission beyond the solar system, a strange mix of excitement and determination filled the air. Humanity had been called not to receive advanced knowledge or to be uplifted by a superior civilization, but to solve a problem that had stumped beings far more technologically advanced than themselves. And in workshops, laboratories, and space centers around the world, people smiled at that thought. Because if there was one thing humans were good at, it was fixing things that everyone else said couldn't be fixed. The world's greatest space rescue mission came together in just 30 days. Space agencies from different countries worked around the clock, preparing their best equipment and selecting their finest people. But they weren't looking for the usual candidates. Instead of pure scientists, they wanted people who could think on their feet and fix problems with whatever tools were at hand. Captain James Walker was working on an old satellite repair station when he got the call. He had spent 20 years fixing broken spacecraft and was known for making repairs that others thought impossible. His crew nicknamed him the Mechanic because he believed in understanding machines with his hands, not just through computers. "We need you to lead the mission," said Director Thompson during the video call. "These aliens have technology we can barely understand, but they need practical solutions. That's your specialty." James looked at his oil-stained hands and smiled. "When do we start?" The next few weeks were a blur of activity. Space agencies around the world sent their best problem solvers to the new International Space Rescue Center in Houston. They brought with them not just high-tech equipment, but also basic tools, wrenches, welding gear, and even rolls of heavy-duty tape. As James liked to say, "You can't fix a spacecraft with theories alone." The team came together quickly. There was Kate Miller, a mechanical engineer who had once fixed a failing space station radiator with spare parts from a water filter. Robert Torres joined them too. He was famous for adapting Earth technology to work with foreign systems. Each team member was chosen not just for their knowledge, but for their ability to improvise. The aliens sent more technical data every day. The team studied the complex diagrams of the stranded ships, trying to understand what had gone wrong. The alien vessels used quantum technology that seemed like magic, but the problem was surprisingly simple. Their automated repair systems had become too complex to fix themselves. "It's like they've forgotten how to do things the simple way," Kate said during one planning session. She pointed to the holographic display of an alien engine. "Look here, they're using quantum fields to adjust micro settings, when sometimes all you need is to tighten a bolt." The team began developing their rescue plan. They would need to bring basic repair equipment that the aliens might have forgotten about over centuries of automation. James insisted on including a large supply of manual tools, despite some officials arguing they would look too primitive. "I'd rather look primitive and succeed than look advanced and fail," he told the planning committee. No one argued with that. The biggest challenge was preparing their spacecraft. The rescue ship needed to carry enough equipment to help the alien fleet, but it also had to be simple enough that the team could fix it themselves if something went wrong. They chose a reliable design and added extra storage for tools and spare parts. As launch day approached, messages from the stranded alien fleet became more frequent. They seemed surprised by the humans' confidence. Their own repair attempts, using highly advanced quantum computers and robot systems, had all failed. The idea that less advanced beings might succeed where they had failed seemed to both worry and intrigue them. The night before launch, James walked through the hangar, checking their equipment one last time. Among the high-tech devices and specialized tools, he made sure they had included the basics: wrenches, pliers, strong wire, and yes, several rolls of duct tape. Sometimes the old ways were the best ways. The whole world watched as the rescue team made their final preparations. News stations broadcast images of the ship and its crew. People everywhere felt a mixture of pride and nervousness. This would be humanity's first real test among the stars. Just before boarding their ship, named the Frontier Spirit, James gathered his team for one last talk. "Remember," he said, looking at each of them, "we're not going up there to show off. We're going to solve problems, fix what's broken, and bring those people home. We do this like we've done everything else, one step at a time, using whatever works." As they climbed aboard their ship, James couldn't help but smile. Humanity's first major interaction with an advanced alien civilization wouldn't be about war, trade, or diplomacy. It would be about the most human thing of all: fixing something that was broken. The journey beyond Neptune would take 3 weeks. As the Frontier Spirit left Earth's orbit, the rescue team settled into their new routine. They spent most of their time studying the alien technical documents and practicing with their tools in the ship's workshop area. Kate Miller had turned the cargo hold into a testing ground. She used spare parts to build mock-ups of the alien systems based on the technical drawings they'd received. The team gathered around her work table, where she had laid out various pieces of equipment. "The alien's quantum drive isn't that different from our engines," she explained, pointing to her simplified model. "It's just that they've added so many layers of automation that they can't fix it manually anymore. But underneath all that complexity, it's still just energy moving through systems." Robert Torres spent his hours figuring out how to connect human tools to alien technology. He had brought along a collection of adapters he designed himself, working late into the night to modify them based on new information from the alien fleet. "It's like trying to connect a garden hose to a quantum computer," he joked during one team meeting. "But every machine, no matter how advanced, still needs basic things like power and cooling. We just need to find the right way to hook everything together." The team's confidence grew as they better understood the challenge ahead. The alien ships weren't broken beyond repair. They had just become too dependent on automated systems that had failed. Sometimes, the oldest solutions were the best ones. Captain James spent hours in communication with the alien fleet. Their messages, now translated by better computers, showed increasing desperation. Their life support systems were holding, but their power was slowly draining. They had already lost 2 smaller ships, forcing their crews to crowd it onto the remaining vessels. "We're doing something they never expected," James told his crew during their evening meal. "They're used to solving problems by adding more technology. We're going to solve it by stripping away the complexity and fixing the basic issues." As they passed Mars orbit, the team received new information that made their task even more urgent. The aliens' main power systems were failing faster than expected. If the quantum drives couldn't be repaired, they would lose life support in less than 2 months. The news drove the team to work even harder. Kate and Robert spent every spare moment running simulations and testing different repair approaches. The rest of the crew practiced spacewalks and repair procedures, knowing they would need to work quickly when they arrived. One evening, about halfway through their journey, James found Kate staring at the star-filled viewing window. She had been working nonstop for days, trying to perfect their repair plan. "Worried?" he asked, floating next to her in the zero gravity. "A little," she admitted. "We're going to show up with what they probably consider Stone Age tools, trying to fix technology that's centuries ahead of us." James smiled. "You know what's funny? Every broken-down ship I've ever fixed needed the same thing. Someone who understands the basics and isn't afraid to get their hands dirty. Quantum drives or old rockets, they're all just machines in the end." As they entered the outer solar system, the alien fleet became visible through their telescopes. 12 massive ships, each one bigger than anything humans had ever built, hung motionless against the black of space. Their elegant designs spoke of an advanced civilization, but right now they were as helpless as ancient sailing ships caught in a dead calm. The crew gathered in the bridge to look at the magnified images. These were the ships they had trained to save, the vessels they had studied in diagrams for weeks. Now they were real, and close, and waiting for help. "Remember," James said to his team, "we're not here to impress them with our technology. We're here because sometimes the simplest solution is the best one. Let's show them what humans can do with a few good tools and some practical thinking." The frontier spirit adjusted its course for final approach. In just a few hours, they would make history, not by showing off advanced technology, but by proving that human ingenuity and basic engineering could solve problems that even the most sophisticated computers couldn't handle. The first close-up view of the alien fleet left the human crew speechless. The massive ships gleamed like silver clouds against the starlit background, each one nearly 3 miles long. Their smooth, curved hulls showed no visible engines or thrusters, just elegant lines that seemed to flow like liquid metal. "They're beautiful," Kate whispered as the frontier spirit approached the lead vessel. "Beautiful, but dark. Most of the ships were running on minimal power, their once bright surfaces now dim and lifeless. The alien response to their arrival was immediate. A message came through their communication system, automatically translated by their computers. "Welcome, Earth Rescue Team. Please dock at the indicated port. Be warned, our artificial gravity is functioning at only 40% capacity." James guided their ship toward a docking port that had opened like a flower on the side of the lead vessel. Despite all their practice simulations, this was the real thing. Humanity's first direct contact with an advanced alien civilization. The docking went smoothly, and soon the team was preparing to board. They wore their spacesuits, carrying their tools in magnetic boxes that attached to their suits. James looked at each member of his crew, seeing the mix of excitement and nervousness in their eyes. "Remember," he said, "we're here to do a job, just like any other repair mission." The airlock cycled, and they floated through into the alien ship. The corridor ahead was huge, clearly designed for beings larger than humans. The reduced gravity made movement strange but manageable. Emergency lights cast a pale blue glow over everything. Their welcoming committee waited at the end of the corridor. 3 aliens stood there, each nearly 8 feet tall. They had smooth, pale blue skin and 4 arms, but their faces looked surprisingly human-like, with expressions the rescue team could actually read. Right now, those expressions showed a mixture of hope and doubt. The tallest alien stepped forward. "I am Ambassador Gaxal," it said through a translator device. "We appreciate your response to our distress call." The pause suggested uncertainty about depending on help from such a primitive species. James introduced his team and got straight to business. "We'd like to see your engine room and assess the damage firsthand," he said. "Our preliminary plans are based on your transmitted data, but we need to see the actual systems." The aliens led them through corridors that would have been magnificent if fully powered. Kate kept looking at the walls, noticing how every surface seemed to be made of technology so advanced it was almost invisible. No obvious panels, no visible wires or pipes. Everything was hidden behind seamless surfaces. When they reached the engine room, Robert let out a low whistle. The chamber was enormous, filled with crystalline structures that pulsed with faint light. But instead of the steady rhythm they should have shown, the pulses were erratic and weak. "Your quantum drive systems are incredible," Kate said, scanning the nearest crystal with their basic diagnostic tools. "But I think that's part of the problem. They're so integrated and advanced that when one part fails, the whole system gets confused." Ambassador Xal's expression showed clear concern. "Our automated repair systems have tried millions of combinations of solutions. They cannot identify the root cause of the cascade failure." James pulled out an old-fashioned mechanical sensor from his toolkit. The aliens watched with what looked like embarrassment as he began taking basic readings. "Sometimes," he said, "you need to step back from the complex solutions and look at the fundamentals." After an hour of investigation, the human team gathered to share their findings. Kate had identified several points where the quantum field was destabilizing, while Robert had found ways to interface their equipment with the alien systems. The aliens listened with growing interest as the humans discussed solutions that their advanced computers had never considered. "You want to manually adjust the quantum field generators?" Ambassador Xal asked, the translator somehow conveying their disbelief. "That hasn't been done in centuries. It's too imprecise, too dangerous." James held up his diagnostic tool. "Your automated systems are trying to make perfect adjustments and failing. We're suggesting a good enough fix that will get your ships moving again. Sometimes imperfect solutions are exactly what you need." The aliens looked at each other, having a quick discussion in their own language. Finally, Ambassador Xal turned back to the humans. "We have no choice but to trust your primitive methods. Please proceed." The real work began the next day. Kate spent hours crawling through maintenance tunnels that hadn't been used in generations, mapping out the physical components behind the alien ship's seamless walls. What she found surprised her. Under all this advanced technology, she told James while pointing at her hand-drawn diagrams. "There's a basic power distribution system. They've just covered it up with so many layers of automation that they've forgotten it's there." Robert worked alongside the alien engineers, who watched in amazement as he used simple tools to test their quantum systems. He had rigged up a basic voltage meter to interface with their technology, proving that even the most advanced systems could be understood with fundamental tools. "Look here," he said, showing his readings to Kate. "Their quantum field is unstable because the power flow is uneven. All these automatic corrections are actually making it worse. We need to bypass their computers and fix the basic power distribution first." The aliens seemed uncomfortable with this approach. Ambassador Xal hovered nearby, watching nervously as the humans used what they considered obsolete tools and methods. "These systems haven't been manually controlled in over 300 years, the ambassador said. "Our society has evolved beyond the need for such direct intervention." James looked up from where he was examining a power conduit. "Sometimes evolution takes you too far in one direction. There's nothing wrong with keeping the old skills alongside the new technology." The team worked out a plan. They would need to shut down the automated systems completely, something that made the aliens very nervous. Then they would use their basic tools to stabilize the power flow manually, before letting the quantum drives restart with a clean baseline. "It's like rebooting a computer," Kate explained to the worried alien engineers. "Sometimes you need to turn everything off and start fresh." The biggest challenge was creating an interface between their simple tools and the alien technology. Robert spent a full day building what he called a quantum translator, a device that could connect their basic diagnostic equipment to the alien ship systems. "It's not pretty," he admitted, holding up the device he built from spare parts and modified alien components, "but it'll work." Sometimes function matters more than form. As they prepared for the crucial repair attempt, more problems emerged. The power levels in the fleet's other ships were dropping faster than expected. They would only have one chance to get this right. James gathered his team for a final review. They had spread their tools and diagrams across a table in what had once been the alien ship's grand conference room. Now it was their makeshift workshop, with human equipment scattered across its elegant surfaces. "Kate, you'll lead the power redistribution team," he said, pointing to the diagrams. "Robert, your team will handle the interface between our equipment and their systems. I'll coordinate from here with Ambassador Xal." The aliens had provided them with environmental suits designed for human use. They looked far more advanced than anything from Earth, but the team made sure to check them with their own basic testing equipment first. "Trust but verify," James reminded them. "No matter how advanced the technology, always check it yourself." As the repair teams moved into position, tension filled the air. The lives of 50,000 aliens depended on whether this primitive human approach would work. Their own advanced computers had failed to solve the problem. Now they were putting their faith in basic tools and human ingenuity. Kate's voice came through the comm system as her team reached the main power distribution node. "Ready when you are, Captain. Let's show them sometimes the simplest solution is the best one." James looked at Ambassador Xal, who gave a slight nod of approval. The moment of truth had arrived. It was time to find out if human problem-solving could succeed where alien technology had failed. "Shutting down automated systems now," Kate's voice echoed through the command center. The alien crew watched in tense silence as their ship's advanced computers went dark for the first time in centuries. Emergency lighting cast a dim blue glow across worried faces. Ambassador Xal stood beside James, trying to hide their nervousness. "Our entire fleet is now dependent on manual control," they said, the translator struggling to convey their mix of hope and doubt. "Sometimes you need to take a step back to move forward," James replied, watching the diagnostic screens. Robert's makeshift interface devices were working, showing them the raw power flows through the quantum systems. Kate and her team moved through the maintenance tunnels, using basic tools to adjust power regulators that hadn't been touched by physical hands in hundreds of years. The aliens had forgotten these access points even existed, hidden behind panels of advanced technology. Found the primary power junction, Kate reported. It's like we thought. The automated systems were fighting each other, trying to make too many perfect adjustments at once. We're going to stabilize it manually. Robert's voice came next. Interface is holding steady. Our equipment is reading the quantum fields clearly. Kate, you won't believe this, but the basic problem is just power distribution. Their computers were trying to solve quantum equations when they really needed to fix simple power flow issues. The human team worked with careful precision. They used modified Earth tools, basic mechanical skills, and even some emergency patches that made the aliens cringe. At one point, Kate actually used high-strength tape to hold a power conduit in proper alignment. That's not a proper repair method. One of the alien engineers protested. It's temporary, Kate explained. Sometimes you need a simple fix to get things stable before you can make permanent repairs. Hours passed as the team worked. They moved from section to section, bypassing damaged automated systems and restoring basic power flow patterns. The aliens watched in amazement as these primitive methods slowly brought their ships back to life. Power levels are evening out, Robert reported. The quantum field fluctuations are settling down. Kate, that manual bypass you rigged is actually working better than their original automated system. James watched the main display as power readings began to stabilize across the ship. The humans' basic approach, focusing on fundamental engineering principles instead of complex quantum calculations, was working. Ready to start bringing systems back online, Kate announced. Remember, we're doing this one step at a time. No rushing. The ship hummed as power began flowing properly for the first time in weeks. Systems activated one by one, each one running more smoothly than before. The alien crew's expressions changed from doubt to amazement as their advanced technology began working again. Quantum drive is spinning up, Robert called out. Field stability at 85, 90, 95%. That's better than their normal operating range. Ambassador Exal stared at the readings in disbelief. How did you achieve this with such basic tools? James smiled. We didn't try to fix everything at once. We found the root problem. Simple power distribution issues, and fixed that first. Sometimes the most advanced solution isn't the best one. The next few hours were spent transmitting the repair procedures to the other ships in the fleet. The aliens were quick learners, especially once they saw how effective the human methods were. Ship after ship reported successful drive restarts. All ships reporting stable power levels reported the fleet's command center. Quantum drive systems are operating within normal parameters. Better than normal, actually. The human team gathered in the command center, tired but proud. Their primitive tools were scattered around them. Wrenches, meters, diagnostic devices, and yes, several rolls of high-strength tape. They had succeeded not through advanced technology, but through understanding basic principles and not being afraid to get their hands dirty. Ambassador Excel addressed the human team formally. We owe you a debt that cannot be measured. You have taught us that true advancement isn't just about having the most sophisticated technology. It's about understanding the basics and knowing when to use simple solutions. 1 month after the successful repairs, the Frontier Spirit approached Earth's orbit, accompanied by a single alien vessel. The rest of the fleet had continued their journey, but Ambassador Exal's ship remained behind to establish formal relations with humanity. The return trip had been filled with knowledge exchange. The aliens were particularly interested in learning about human repair techniques and what they called practical engineering. They had spent so many centuries relying on automated systems that they had lost touch with the fundamentals of their own technology. Your people have given us more than just repairs, Ambassador Exal told James during their final meeting in the ship's newly brightened conference room. You've reminded us of something we had forgotten, the value of understanding our technology, not just using it. The alien ship's crew had spent the journey studying human tools and methods. They were fascinated by the way Earth's engineers combined basic mechanical skills with advanced knowledge. Several alien engineers had even requested copies of basic Earth engineering textbooks. "We've developed an entire training program based on your repair methods," one of the alien engineers explained to Kate. "We're calling it fundamental engineering, teaching our people to understand the basic principles behind our advanced technology." Robert had worked with the alien technical team to develop new hybrid systems that combined the best of both worlds. They created interfaces that allowed for both automated and manual control, ensuring their ships would never be helpless again. "It's not about choosing between advanced technology and basic skills," Robert explained to a group of alien technicians. "It's about having both options available. Sometimes you need quantum computers, and sometimes you need a wrench." As they approached Earth, news of their success had already spread across the planet. The human team had sent regular reports during their journey, and the world had followed their progress with pride and amazement. Humanity's first major interaction with an advanced alien civilization had been a triumph of practical problem-solving. The alien ship entered Earth orbit, its quantum drive now running more efficiently than ever before. Ambassador Xal made a formal announcement to the United Nations, broadcast to people around the world. "The Stellar Confederation hereby extends an invitation to humanity to join our alliance," the ambassador announced. "Not as junior partners, but as equals. Your people have demonstrated that true advancement comes in many forms. While we explored the boundaries of quantum physics, you maintained practical wisdom that we had lost. Together, we can learn from each other." James and his team received a hero's welcome upon landing. But more important than the ceremonies and medals were the changes their mission had sparked. Space agencies around the world began emphasizing practical skills alongside theoretical knowledge. Engineering schools added courses in creative problem-solving and manual repair techniques. "We're not giving up our advanced technology," Ambassador Xal explained to Earth's leaders. "We're learning to combine it with your practical approaches. The next generation of our ships will have both quantum computers and manual override systems." The alien engineers had already begun implementing human-inspired modifications across their fleet. They installed access panels, manual controls, and backup systems that could be repaired with basic tools. Some ships even carried supplies of high-strength tape, which had become something of a joke among the aliens, but one they took seriously. As James watched the alien ship depart Earth's orbit a week later, he thought about how a simple repair mission had changed two civilizations. Humans would gain access to incredible new technology, but they would keep their practical skills and problem-solving abilities. The aliens would continue using their advanced systems, but they would never again forget the importance of understanding the basics. "What do you think the future holds?" Kate asked, standing beside him at the observation window. James smiled, thinking of the hybrid systems Robert had helped design, combining alien quantum technology with human practical engineering. "I think we'll build something new together," he said. "Something that takes the best from both our peoples. After all, that's what good engineers do. We find the best solution, no matter where it comes from." The alien ship disappeared in a flash of quantum energy, leaving behind a changed Earth. Humanity had proven itself among the stars not through military might or technological advancement, but through the very things that made them human: practical wisdom, creative problem-solving, and the willingness to get their hands dirty to fix what was broken.